$55 silver within weeks. Hard to believe? Hey, listen, one of the world's top and our new favorite silver analyst said just that. We're going to talk about it in this video. Don't forget, guys, anything, and I mean anything, is possible. Silver has had parabolic moves in the past, and when this guy talks, hey, we're going to listen to what he says. But right now, we are at a critical juncture for silver. Put on your silver armor. I wore my special silver shirt today because, guys, we got a big battle ahead of us. $32 silver. Let's go straight to the charts. But wait a minute. Before we do that, let's go straight to you. Yes, you. I see you. Thank you for being here. Welcome to the club. Right? You're part of the group. You're a basement dweller. We're going to talk about our favorite subject, gold, silver, precious metal mining stocks. But it's really important you're here. Thank you. Your time is valuable. Please subscribe to the channel. Give the video a thumbs up. You can share it with your grandma, your grandpa, your neighbors, whatever you want to do. And super chats and super thanks are always super appreciated. Put on your silver armor, boys and girls. Here we are at Yahoo Finance, right? Yes, Yahoo Finance. Looking at a 2-year chart of the silver price. Something absolutely critical is going on here. Let's break out our Crayolas. See if we can do this. Had a little trouble yesterday. And we're going to draw a line right about here. Okay? Look at that. Look how straight I drew that. That red line, folks, is the new red line in the sand. That's about, let's say $31.50, $32 per ounce. We have broken above that, as can be clearly seen by the fact that right now in the futures market, the December 24th silver futures contract is trading at $32.42 per ounce. Okay, we bumped up against that in May. We bumped up against it in July. That's called a double top. We bumped up against it just a little while ago. That's called a triple top. Okay, triple tops are very rare. We had one in gold, I believe, last year that it broke through on the 4th attempt. But when anything, whether it's a stock, anything, bumps up against a level, bumps up again, typically on the 3rd time, it breaks out and never looks back. And it appears for now that that's what's going on with the silver price. So when we have this, our most favorite, the top silver analyst in the world, we're going to elevate him temporarily to silver dictator level. Talk about the prospect, right? The possibility that we could see parabolic moves in silver in the coming weeks. We're going to pay attention. Now, look, if silver drops back below $32 again, it's not the end of the world. Okay, it's not the end of the world because gold actually did that and then broke out, if I have this all correct, on its 4th attempt. But what is this person saying about silver that makes us need to perk up? And before we get to that, I want to tell you guys, I know this morning, the silver price, I got up, right? I'm waking up. Yeah, I don't know how you wake up in the morning, but I wake up a little groggy. And one of the first 6 things I do is check the silver price. It was up like 80 cents. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's happening. It's big. This is big. Okay, what's going on? I want to talk to you for a second about volatility, which means big price swings, basically. The reality is we have to accept volatility, right? Nothing goes straight up. I think right now, let's run out and check on the, let's do a live update at channel sponsor Pimbex. I'm going to press the magic button. Last we were here, this is about 20 minutes ago, silver was up 29 cents and silver's now up 30 cents. See, every time we press that button, the price goes up. Gold up $10 per ounce. But volatility, we need to accept it. We need to embrace it. We are going to have wild swings in the price. What's critical, right? I'll give you an example. If the silver price goes up 85 cents like it was this morning, pulls back to being up 15 cents, but ends the day up 45 cents. That's a net positive day. We want to have a net. What we want is for the price to continue in the upward channel. And that's the situation we're in right now, guys. I'm telling you, buckle up, buttercup. Now, if you do decide that you want to get your hands, if you want to buy some gold, silver, platinum group metals, and you're going to get it through an online bullion dealer, even if you're going to consider getting it from a local coin shop, please consider supporting channel sponsor Pimbex. And I can say that with a pure heart, telling you that I think you'll really benefit from giving Pimbex a shot. What you'll find is ultra competitive pricing, a great selection, in a company you can trust. And hey, look, compared to a local coin shop, you'll save on gas money. Over the course of a year, you could probably buy yourself a couple free ounces of silver. I've worked with Pimbex myself for over 1 year. And if you ever decide that you want to convert part or all of an IRA, I beg you, I'm looking you straight in the eye. If you got an uncle, if you got a neighbor, you got anybody, whoever wants to convert an IRA, please take your time, shop around, compare what all the different options can do for you. Compare bottom line. How many ounces of silver, how many ounces of gold are all those different options going to get you, right, at the end of the day, for the amount of money, unicorn fart dust, paper, dollars, whatever you want to call it, that you may or may not be deciding to convert. And please, please make Pimbex one of those options that you check out. I think you could be shocked compared to what they can do for you, as opposed to what some of the big, highly advertised on the cable news channel companies can do for you. I think you'll find that you can come out way ahead dealing with a company like Pimbex, but you need to find that out for yourself. I'm not giving financial advice. You know that whole spiel. Okay. Did I lie to you? Huh? Am I sitting down here, silver stackers? Am I lying to you? Or did one of the top analysts, a guy that everybody respects, talk about the prospect of $55 silver, not next year, not whatever. Hey, we're down here talking about $44 silver by Christmas. If he's right, we're going to blow through that by about $11 potentially in the coming weeks. I'm talking about Michael Oliver. This guy is loved. He is not a permabull. Okay, I've heard him, he called tops in the gold market. He's not constantly saying silver's going to the moon, gold's going to the moon. No, he's very pragmatic in his approach. And I listened to him last night talk about the fact that we could get $55 silver in the coming weeks. Okay, he used the word that they could go vertical. You might be wondering about gold. He said gold could go to 3,000 in the coming weeks. But he recognized the move in silver could be much more parabolic. Same thing, by the way, for those of you who invest in precious metal mining stocks, exact same situation in the precious metal mining stocks. And I believe in what he's saying. Absolutely. No doubt about it. He also pointed out something very interesting, and I'm going to give you the reasons why, a few of the reasons why he thinks silver can go parabolic, and I'm going to give you a few of our reasons we'll add to it why silver can go parabolic. Well, we know it just broke through that triple top. We'll make that reason number one, right? That chart we just looked at. But realize this. Let's go on a little side trip briefly. The gold mining stocks, the GDX, that's the ETF that tracks all the gold mining stocks. Things are picking up, guys. There's going to be a little wave of money coming into the precious metals sector. And guess what? Just a little wave is all it's going to take, because the sector is so itsy bitsy, teeny weeny, yellow polka dot bikini, the silver market, the gold market, the gold mining stock market, so small, just a little wave of money, all right, is going to make a huge, massive difference, okay, if it all plays out in that manner. But back to what I was saying, the GDX, the big gold miner ETF that tracks the big gold miners, it's actually outperformed the S&P 500. I have over the last 5 years, but I think it was actually, he said, over the last 3 years. But it's still dirt cheap. There's still a lot of room for that to run, okay? Where's the money going to come from? It's going to come out of the stock market, okay? It's going to come out of the bond market. And I want you to remember something, okay? It's going to be looking for a safe home. And silver and gold, everybody knows about it. I challenge you. Go out, walk around your neighborhood, wherever you are. Ask a random neighbor. Ask anyone you run into. Go to McDonald's, whatever floats your boat, okay? Ask anybody. What's the most valuable thing in the world? I guarantee you, most people will say gold. Most people will, what are the two most valuable things in the world? Everybody's already had the seed planted. They've been brainwashed not to buy it, but as just a few of these people wake up, guys, it can be absolutely transformative for the gold and silver markets. Okay, let me get back on track here. I apologize. Silver, right? Why else do we think that silver can absolutely explode? Right? We know the whole list. Where is it? Right? Right? There's a whole list of reasons why silver, right? There's no overhead resistance above this $32, $33 level that we are fighting for right now. What about the cup and handle? Oh my gosh, right? Right? What about the cup and handle? Here, let's pull that up and take a quick look. It's been a while. We drew this chart, basement dwellers, right? Remember, we talked about this chart over the last 7-8 months. If we get this move, right, and this is the most powerful chart pattern in the history of technical analysis. That's no joke, right? And the longer period of time that the cup and handle develops over, the more predictable and more powerful that it is. And this is one of the biggest, purest. It's one for the textbooks. That guy, oh shoot, I'm forgetting his name. Roy Byrne. I'm sorry. I apologize. I'm horrible with names. He's like one of the best technical analysts out there. He says this is one for the textbooks. Okay, that's just one reason. Let's take a look at the other. There's another way to look at the cup. See the cup and see the handle and see the big arrow. So that's another one of the reasons. Okay, we got all these new stackers that are going to be joining us. The big BRICS meeting, big news on the BRICS. We're going to talk about that towards the end of the video. Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. Okay, China just did a massive stimulus program. That in particular for silver. That's what we were waiting for, right? That's what we were waiting for. They're going to be buying more copper and silver than the world can supply. We know the industrial demand. We know on top of that, there's been a deficit for the last 5 years. We know that from a supply perspective, Mexico, the world's biggest silver supplier, right, is making it very difficult to mine silver in there. It's almost like they don't want silver mines. And that's like they're the world's biggest producer. Okay. And we know the situation in the United States, right? Runaway debt, the financial conundrum that the United States is in, which will only push the value of the US dollar down. And on top of that, we've got a world geopolitical situation like we've never had before. Okay. But let's move on. And let's remember, right? This Michael Oliver, respected analyst in the silver community, not a guy who's just constantly bullish on silver or gold, is telling us that we could get $55 silver within weeks. Okay. Look, I think it's a little bit of a long shot. How do you feel about it? But I also know sometimes the long shots come in. And whether it's in the next few weeks or the next few years, I am very confident that we will see that $55 silver range, no matter what. Embrace the volatility. I want to get back to that. You're a silver investor. Guys, silver has always been a very volatile metal. It moves. It has mood swings. It's like bipolar, right? Some days it's in a great mood. Some days it's in a bad mood. We need to realize that. We need to continue to embrace the volatility. But the volatility, as of late, we can look at it as a good thing because that volatility is occurring within a higher and higher and higher price range. Right? We can get all fancy with more technical analysis if you want, but really it's quite simple, right? The big volatile moves, and we've been saying this for the last probably 3 or 4 months. We've been talking about this, right? The volatility is okay, right? Maybe we have a day where the price of silver goes up. How do those days when it goes up $1.40 or $1.30 or 98 cents? Those days feel great, okay? We might have days then the next day or the next week where it goes down by 74 cents, 68 cents, whatever the case may be. As long as the big up days are outweighing the down days, we are in beautiful, beautiful shape, because over a period of time, it's going to be like this. The price of silver continuing upward, just like we've seen with record new all-time highs in the gold price. And what about a speculative mania? Silver, right? Maybe within the next 6 months, $65 per ounce, $85 per ounce. I want to ask you a question, right? Why do you think it's okay that we have speculative manias in the tech stocks? NVIDIA, Apple Computer. I would even argue stocks like Microsoft are way, way overvalued. Why is it okay to have speculative manias in the cryptocurrencies, right? What's great news, this is great news for us, silver and really gold investors as well, but we're going to hone in on silver, right? We're the opposite of that right now, okay? The last few years we're the opposite of a bubble, the opposite of a speculative mania. The good news in that, the silver lining, you love silver linings, I do too, is that from where we are, being on the floor, right, there is so much room for improvement, right? It's going to be really hard for these tech stocks, the NASDAQ 100, to continue this big, massive upward growth trajectory. But for the silver price, even at $32 per ounce right now, it's not so difficult. We are on the floor. Okay, we've started to move. We're coming up. Do I have to lay on the floor to demonstrate this? It's like if the silver price were Ron's basement, right? I have a 2-story house above me, but I'm in the basement. Right now, the silver price is about right here, about 1/3 of the way between the floor and the first floor. $150 silver is the tippy top of my roof. I promise you. I'll you know what? When we get to $85 silver, I'll do a live stream from the tippy top of my roof. And it's scary up there. I've been up there a number of times. The good news is we got a lot of room to run. Those tech stocks, the cryptos, they're already up on the roof. Heck, they're jumping. They've jumped higher off the roof. So we've got a lot of big room to run within those. And what proof? Let's look at more proof. We got more reasons why. And we will go on a little field trip. This is a great article on Zero Hedge. What is this telling you? Goldman commodity traders, gold buying on our desk has been relentless, and silver is starting to move too. This is a huge article. I just want to show you 2 charts that give us in no uncertain terms can tell us where we're going. Okay. This one, gold versus the gold ETFs, started about 2 years ago. The price of gold is the blue line. You can see, right, from about mid-2022, the price of gold has shot higher. The amount of money going into the ETFs has gone down. And if you look back over time, right, and this is true of all the precious metals, the price had followed very closely the amount of money flowing into and out of the ETFs. Well, then we had big outflows, but the price of gold continued higher. Again, this is good because now we know that money is starting to come back into the gold ETFs, and that will be an even bigger source of wind in the sails for the precious metals. Let's go to this next slide. And it shows something even more interesting. Gold price, again, same basic chart. Okay. Nope, wrong chart. Actually, that's the same chart. Let's go down a little further here, basement dwellers. Here we go. We want the one with the green and the red box. Okay. On this chart, guys, this shows in blue, the blue line. So follow that blue line. That's the gold price. The red line, the green line. So blue is the gold price. Green is the ETF flows like we just looked at. But what's interesting here is they added a red line, which is managed money futures. Okay. This is, it says right here, regime 2. This is when things changed. Gold price now correlates with gold managed money. Those are hedge funds investing in gold. This is also relates directly to central banks buying gold. Again, the green line is the ETF. When this green line continues to go up, it's going to send the price of gold and silver, for that matter, even more crazy to the moon. What other, we talked about, you want to hear about why gold should be at $5,700? There's a ratio, right? The S&P 500, right, which is about 5,700 right now, the S&P 500 index, a ratio of the S&P 500 to gold. Right now, it's about 2 to 1 because gold's about half the price of the S&P 500. If we look back over 100 years, and I've got a whole video coming out tomorrow, it's very common. Actually, the long-term 100-year average is for the S&P 500 in gold to be at parity. Parity, that means equal, 1 to 1. So easily right now, if we were to have a 1 to 1 S&P 500 to gold ratio, we'd have $5,700 gold. We'd have much higher silver, okay? And you know this chart, but I need to pull it up for you one more time because this shows, this is insane. Reason why silver is absolutely bizarrely undervalued. And this is if we compare the silver price to the NDX. The NDX are the big tech stocks. That's the NASDAQ 100. And when we look at this, I like to call this the big butt pattern. You may call it something else, but we are at like historic lows. This, again, 1 ounce of silver as compared to 1 unit of the NASDAQ 100 index. You can see back here, right? Just back in the 1980s, it was at 0.05. Okay. That was when we had the high in silver. All right. $50 an ounce. Here's silver's 2011 high. Same thing. Now we're all the way back down here. If we were to get just back to the silver 2011 ratio, 0.02, I mean, we're talking multiples, okay? Multiple higher silver price. If we go all the way up here, if we want to get all the way back up to the all-time highs, that would mean silver outperforms the NASDAQ 100 by 30x. That's what? 3,000% return? That means 30 times. I did the math. Actually, you know what? Here. Oh, wrong one. I did the math, right? If the NDX, the NASDAQ 100, were to stay where it is right now, it's probably higher because tech stocks are up again today. And we were to get this ratio back to 0.055, silver would be $1,100. I mean, it's mind-numbing. Guys, this really happened. This ratio right here, 0.055. Remember, this is where we are now, roughly 0.016. All right, so that would be 30x, and we're with the NASDAQ 100 at 19,800. Silver, when I made this, was at 31. It's crazy. Even if we split the difference, okay, and let's say the NASDAQ 100 dropped by 50% to 10,000, okay, if we wanted to get back to that 0.055, that would put silver at $550 per ounce. It's unbelievable, okay? And again, what do we know that's happening in the world right now with silver? Silver's reaching all-time highs in so many other currencies, okay? I got to show you one more time, and I know it's a repeat, but it's worth it. Trust me. Hold on here. I got to get to the right chart. There we go. I'm getting good. I'm taking notes, basement dwellers. Hey, again, thank you, Jake. Gold for the win. Yes. Thank you, Jake, from Jake's Custom Parts. And thank the guy moderates, and he is given a super chat. You know what, Jake? I'll ring the bell. A little early for you. Hey, guys, please, don't forget, give us some thumbs up. Susie's out for a walk, so I can't get an update. But here's Canada, our friends up north. We have reached new all-time highs in the silver price in Canada, and it's happening all over the world. We can't emphasize this enough. Okay, Argentina, China, India, everywhere. New all-time highs in silver. The last to show up to the party will be the United States. But guess what? Guess what? Little secret for you. That's the same thing that happened in the gold market over the last 6 months. You know who was the last to show up for the party in the gold market? The United States of America. Right. And that's the exact same thing, right? That's going to happen with silver. If it all plays out, don't make any financial. I believe this. I can sit here and look you straight in the eye. I believe it 150%. But every once in a while, I'm wrong. So don't make any big financial decisions based on anything that I'm saying. The only thing we need, I feel like this is Flashback Friday, but it's Thursday, guys. And this is what Michael Oliver was somewhat talking about, but it's very important for us to always remember, right? Exter's pyramid. Gold and silver are tiny little itty bitty markets compared to, and they're the base of everything. And they're real. We know that. Everything else above it, everything's based on gold and silver. Bank money, base money, government bonds, corporate bonds. I'll even say stock market, derivatives. Some people even say cryptos. It's only going to take a drip of this money. 1%, heck, 0.5% of this money moving into the metals markets, the mining stocks, for there to be big moves. I'm not talking about like double. I'm talking about like triple, 4, 5 times. Okay. Hey, it will even take 50%. Although don't forget something very critical for you to remember. The silver price has been up by 50% over the last 1 year. Now I'm going to do something, right, which can make some of us a little nervous. We're going to take a risk. We're going to go back out to Pimbex and we're going to do another update on the silver price. This is a big day for silver. This is not the updated price, okay? We were up 30 cents. We need to stay above 32. Not the end of the world if we don't get it, but there we go. Okay, we're doing it, baby. Hey, the Pimbex magic button is working today. All righty. What a deal. Let's move on to BRICS. This is a huge developing situation. And these dates come up. We have the massive United States election coming up here in about 6 weeks, 5 weeks. But what could be even much bigger than that is what's happening with the BRICS meeting in Russia in just a few weeks. And we've got some more and more people. I still say speculation. Some people, do you believe it? Is it 100%? You know what? Here, I'll say this. I'm just going to give you, I think there's about a 62% chance, okay, that we're going to get news, official news from the BRICS about a gold-backed currency. That will send absolute shockwaves throughout the world financial system. It's essentially a return to the gold standard. And the more news we get about what's going on with BRICS, and I'm going to share with you a scary article from the United States talking about the BRICS. But the more news we get, the more it feels like it's becoming more and more likely that the world will be moving back onto the gold standard. And don't forget, if a majority of the world's population and economic power, and the BRICS are huge, start migrating, right, coming back to the real true forms of money, silver and gold, it's going to give the United States no other option. By default, we will be forced. They'll be like, hey guys, you have fun with your paper dollars over there, right? If you want to play ball with us in the BRICS, we need something real, baby. Let me show you something real. It's time for the daily show and tell. I'll show this, one of my favorite pieces of silver. because number one, she's beautiful. But number two, this 1 ounce real money came from my good friend Coin Shop Chris. Need I remind you, he has his own YouTube channel. I said web page one time, and he got a little hot under the collar. YouTube channel. So go to YouTube, not now, later. Type in Coin Shop Chris. He tells some great stories from what goes on at the coin shop. And I usually have him on once a week to do kind of a highlight video. But go to his channel and subscribe. He's doing a great job, and he's helping get the word out, right? And he knows a lot about junk silver. Nonetheless, the BRICS situation could force the United States to recognize the true, real value of silver and gold. Okay, and guess what? I got news for you. A little secret. They aren't talking about this on CNN, the Children's News Network. They aren't warning the general United States public, or not necessarily warning them, but even letting them be aware that this is going on. This is happening. This is happening, guys, and it is big. This is kind of like if your bank is failing, you aren't going to go into your bank and the teller say, hey, I think the bank's failing. No, right? No, they're going to say, everything's great. You want to open a new platinum gold checking account? Say, no, right? This is happening right now in our world. President Xi of China, I want you to think about this. All right, put 2 and 2 together. This was like a year and 2 months ago. He was meeting with Vladimir Putin, the president of Russia. And as they were embracing each other in a warm show of affection as they were leaving, right? President Xi whispered into President Putin's ear, the world is changing like no other time in history. And we are at the forefront of it. This is real. This is really happening. What's the foreign policy? Is the United States scared? They better be, right? This is big news, okay? And here, listen to this. This is from the Foreign Policy Research Institute, because we only go to the highest levels when we're going to talk about what's happening in our world right now. All right. And it's going to give you a couple reasons why the United States is scared. And this comes from the Foreign Policy Research Institute. A nation must think before it acts. Okay. Anyway, here's the bottom line. They're talking about the BRICS. Okay. Brazil, Russia, China, India, South Africa, the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, which that's wrong. They're not officially in. Iran, Ethiopia, Egypt. Led by China, those bad people, is challenging the rules-based international order of the G7, challenging the ruling empire. Do you know who the G7 is? Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, United Kingdom, the European Union, and the United States, led by the United States. So they're making this out that it's the United States against China, okay? The BRICS is challenging the established international order in 3 ways. We're really most concerned about the first, which is through an independent economic system. How dare they? That will heavily influence the global market. Guys, think about this, okay? This is the Foreign Policy Research Institute saying this. Again, they're not going to talk about this on MSNBC or CNN or probably even Fox News for that matter, okay? The second is with artificial intelligence governance framework that would jeopardize privacy, accountability, transparency, and human rights. Well, what about what Israel's doing? They're, I guess, not part of the G7, but they're definitely one of our big allies. They're wanting to eliminate cash altogether, make everything electronic, and ban people's ability to hold gold and silver. But I digress. The third threat from the BRICS is the military regional security alignments that could change the balance of power in regions vital to the U.S. national security interest and economic interest, oil. Anyway, this is interesting. Third point: if the United States fails to act, the BRICS is likely to grow in strength, align foreign policies against U.S. interest, and have the potential to disrupt the global order that thus far averted major conflicts. Feels like we've had some pretty major conflicts, doesn't it? We've had major conflicts despite what's going on. So that's that part of the BRICS. Okay, now listen to this. In Russia, while they're talking about this potential for going back to a form of the gold standard, the prospect of going back to the gold standard, who's going to be there? Indian president. The Indian president is coming in, the president of India, 1.4 billion people, the fastest growing economy in the world, the most number of people that are going to be moving into the consumer middle class over the next 10 years. India, the precious metals capital of the world. India. I don't care what they say. I believe, undoubtedly, India rules the world's precious metal market. They have officially 25,000 metric tons of gold hidden in their houses. Okay? That's the official number. There's speculation that the actual number is way higher than that. Need I remind you, that's more than 3 times the amount of gold in India in houses, more than 3 times greater than what the United States supposedly has at Fort Knox. So the president of India, whoa. India basically at this point has bought like over a third, almost a half of all the silver that's been produced in the world this year. The president of India will be attending in person the BRICS summit in Russia at the end of this month, actually next month, but you know what I'm saying. Less than 4 weeks away, basement dwellers. Who else will be there? President Xi of China. Mic drop, right? Big stim. They are stimulating the China. Okay. 1.4 billion people in China, 1.4 billion people in India. They all love 2.8 billion people, silver and gold. Their governments love silver and gold. 2.8 billion. That's like 8.6 times the amount of us. That's me. You may be joining from somewhere all over the world, wherever you are. Thank you for giving us your time and being part of the Silver and Gold Fanatic Club, the basement dwellers, all right? Thank you. Okay, nonetheless, China and India, the gold and silver fanatic countries, they got like 8.6 times the amount of people like me, right? I'm an American. Look, I have a self-waving American flag. You know I go to no ends to entertain you people. My fellow basement dwellers. Do you know how expensive self-waving American flags are? Nonetheless, they got 9. All those people are going to be in person in Russia, talking about going possibly to the gold standard. But it gets even crazier because now guess who's going there, right? Our arch enemy, Iran, the president of Iran. I was shocked, flabbergasted, blown away, flummoxed when I saw this. Look at this. From Reuters. Iran's president to attend the BRICS summit in Russia. This is a massive slap in the face to the United States. Iran's president, Masoud Pezeshkian, will attend the upcoming BRICS summit in Russia. State media cited Tehran's ambassador to Moscow as saying on Sunday, amid tensions, that's an understatement, with the West over military cooperation between the two countries. U.S. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken said on Tuesday that Russia had received ballistic missiles from Iran and was likely to use them in Ukraine within weeks. Cooperation between Moscow and Tehran, that's Iran, threatened wider European security, he said. Wow. New sanctions. I mean, every time we turn around, what's critical, guys, absolutely critical for us to remember, we are likely right now, take a deep breath. This may startle you, but we are likely right now in the middle of a major financial system reset in the world, right? Again, they aren't going to tell you about it in the mainstream Western media. I could be dead wrong, but do you feel this? When you look at all the data, everything going on, can you just feel that it's happening? And remember this. This is a major cataclysmic event that you, as a silver and gold investor, could find yourself being very, very happy that you've held on to silver and gold. But remember this, right? You don't realize how big something is like this until after the fact, 5 years, maybe 3 years, maybe 2 years, maybe 8 years from now. The world is changing at a rate like we've never, ever seen before, okay? The other moves that we're going to see here, let's talk about CBDCs, right? Because that's part of what is going on with the BRICS as well. These new systems are absolutely coming. I'm going to warn you, in 5 years, I believe undoubtedly we will no longer have cash. We saw the experiment, the proposal in Israel. Let's get rid of cash and let's eliminate people's ability, which struck a lightning bolt of fear into this guy's heart. Ban Israelis' ability to hold on to silver and gold. This is happening right now in our world. Now, some people think, right? They speculate that the implementation of a CBDC in the Western world could happen beneath the backdrop of major crisis, be it a financial crisis, a geopolitical crisis, where people are scared. Just be ready, right? I don't want bad things to happen. Look, I love this country. I love what our founding fathers set out for us, but they're going to likely try to shove a CBDC down our throats at some point in the future. I could be dead wrong. And I don't even want to think about right now if our government decides to confiscate people's silver and gold. I don't want to bring up a sore spot for you, right? But in 33, that happened in our country during a crisis, the Great Depression. Okay, so we got to keep our minds open to anything that could happen. Will there be another crisis? It could get very, very, very interesting very quickly. But the key to remember here is that global financial resets do happen. We had the Bretton Woods in 1944, and that worked actually pretty darn well. We were on the gold standard after World War II. America ruled the world. The dollar was backed by gold. It was one of the greatest multi-decade periods of economic growth and prosperity. The middle class did well, right? But then in 1971, we had a big reset, basically, or a major change when President Nixon took us off the gold standard. Are the BRICS countries putting us back onto the gold standard, right? The world, right? There's no reason why not. Okay. And it's going to be a very interesting set of circumstances that we're going to see play out as all of this happens. We always think, don't we? Like it'll never happen. Even in my mind, I'm like, we have recency bias. I want to use this analogy, right? The fact that we think, we couldn't go back onto a gold standard, or, we couldn't have a major financial reset or a major changes in the world. Okay. It's kind of like I live in St. Louis. I live about a mile from the Missouri River. Let me tell you something. You can get land really cheap down in the floodplain, and you could build yourself a house down in the floodplain. Okay. And you know what? For the last 30 years, it hasn't really flooded down there. So I got this nice, we're living in this nice house down by the river. Everything's awesome. But about every 50 years, about every 100 years, okay, the river floods. It happens. It's going to happen. But it hasn't happened for 30, 40 years, 50 years, 100 years. That's exactly the situation that the world finds itself in right now, as it thinks, there could never be a big financial reset. We could never see anything like that happen. It's going to be interesting. I want to say thank you for being here. I need to say thank you also to channel sponsor First Mining Gold. They make this possible. They're a Canadian gold development company with 2 multi-million ounce projects in Canada, and Fortuna Mining. They're an active gold and silver mining company. Big operations in Latin America, silver and gold, and West Africa, where they're mining gold at several operating efficient gold mines. Thank you for being here. Please don't forget to support Pinbex for your online bullion needs, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.